And now, yes, you mentioned The Rock a little bit earlier. You'll know him from blockbuster movies, The Mummy Returns and the title role in The Scorpion King. But before he hit Hollywood, he was known to millions of Americans as the most famous wrestler in the world, the star of World Wrestling Entertainment and a hero to countless fans of all ages. Now he's being tipped to take Arnie's crown as the all-new Hollywood action hero. He plays the lead in his new movie, Welcome to the Jungle, and as this clip shows, it's gripping stuff.
I'll give you one more chance to reconsider.
I'll give you one more chance to shut your mouth.
Is that your final answer? For what it's worth, I hope you enjoy the fall.
Now, what fall?
This fall.
And The Rock is here now. I read, when I was reading up on your background earlier, I read that a producer says the great thing about having The Rock on a film is that basically he does the stunts better even than the stuntmen. You didn't do that, did you?
Did you do that?
Did you do that? Some of
Well,
it?
the truth of the matter is, I did absolutely none of that. No.
That's very honest of you.
That's honest.
No. And there are two stunts, and I love doing my own stunts, absolutely. But
Yeah.
there were two stunts where the producers and, of course, Universal Studios were absolutely not. The studios are absolutely
No.
not.
Yeah.
You cannot.
Well, of course
do
not.
Because of the
You could've broken your neck.
insurance.
No. Yeah.
And
absolutely.
what was the other one then? Because we saw the film.
Well, the other stunt that I didn't do was a stunt where I was fighting the smaller guys.
Oh, right, yeah.
And they had lifted me up probably about 50 feet in the air, which I did do that actual stunt on cables.
Yeah.
But then once I landed in a tree, and it was almost like a pinball machine. It was like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
boom.
I saw
And
that,
fell all
yeah.
the way down. And my stunt double, who's actually, luckily, my cousin, had shattered
So
his
you share
ankle.
a blood group.
Yes, exactly. It's very important. On that particular stunt, he shattered his ankle. So it.
Oh,
and
really?
By the way, quick little side story on that particular stunt, which is an amazing stunt. Sean William Scott's double on the very first take, they took a running start about 20 feet out and just threw themselves down the side of a mountain. And on the first turn, he over-rotated and hit his head on the side of the mountain and was completely knocked out for the entire fall. And that's why in some of those shots in that movie, you'll see what looks like
Like
a
a
dummy.
rag doll, yeah, a dummy, yeah.
It was actually a real person.
That's him.
It was him.
Out cold.
As a block of ice.
Was he all right afterwards? I mean,
No, he
well,
died
once
the
he
next day, Judy.
no, Joe.
No, he's still in the coma.
Yeah. No, luckily he's good. After smelling salts, he
All right.
came through.
I should do a quick resume of the plot. It struck me as it was very much like a Western, actually, I thought.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure.
Basically, you play a sort of a guy who goes collecting for the mafia in Los Angeles, and the guy sends you out to the jungle to bring his wayward son back.
The Amazon jungle.
The Amazon jungle, to get his wayward son back. And then all sorts of adventures ensue. That's him that we saw in that clip there. And it's an excuse for lots of action, but basically a good versus evil battle. Christopher Walken, fantastic performance.
Yeah.
He plays the owner of a mine, big open cast mine, full of slaving natives, South American Indians, whom he's ripping off all the time. And it's a three-way pull between the three of them.
Sure.
And it is like a Western, isn't it? It's good versus evil.
Absolutely, and that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to try and mix like some of our favorite movies in the past, and I know for me, Clint Eastwood is one of my favorites, and of course, Cool Hand Luke with Paul Newman, Steve McQueen and Bullet, just movies like that have that old school, old-fashioned sense of storytelling and sense of action. And in movies like that, you never saw action just for the sake of action. And in Welcome to the Jungle, we wanted to try and accomplish that in some way, and try and throw a contemporary twist on it. So it wasn't just explosions for the sake of explosions. If there was going to be a fight, there would be some good old knuckle sandwiches handed in.
Well, I've got to tell you, I thought that the opening... Well, just see a fight, the jungle fight that you mentioned before you get hoisted into the tree. The opening scene, the opening fight scene in the Los Angeles nightclub, where you end up having to beat up God knows how many American footballers. Against the Miami Dolphins. Much against your will, because you support the team. You say, I don't want to do this to you guys. Anyway, that's one of the best bar brawls I've ever seen on film.
Thank you
it's
very
really
much.
good. It's really good.
That.
Great thing. Anyway, here you are in the jungle, and we thought we'd show this one just to show you being beaten up.
That's right. That's very important. Okay.
By a very little man.
I don't want to do this. Please, please. Travis, tell him one more time, I do not want to fight.
I'd love to help you out, buddy, but I don't think they're really listening to me anymore. Heads up. That's okay. That is okay.
And those Kung Fu guys, and that goes on for quite a while before you eventually attain ascendancy. No wires, they're not floating on wires, those movements are real.
No, that was the amazing part about those guys. Those guys are amazing athletes, amazing fighters, and that particular guy's name is Ernie Reyes Jr. had no wires at all. He wasn't hooked on, no cable, no rigging. He was flipping through the air upside down and doing those amazing kicks.
I love your... We'll move off the film in a second, because we do want to talk about you and wrestling as well. But I love your running catchphrase. You're a person of catchphrases, and your running catchphrase... Well, you are, and your running catchphrase in the film is, you have option A, which is my way.
Sure.
Option B, which is my way with pain. Or option C, and there is no option C, which is just really neat. What?
I want. Are you this tag that you seem to have come into, which is that you're being to replace, you know, if you like, older action heroes like Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Are you happy with that? Is that what you'd like to do?
You know, I'm happy with, and I'm very blessed. I'm in a position where I can make big, fun, entertaining movies for the audiences, and by no means did I ever set out or have the intent to ever take over for those guys. I'm good friends with both those guys. Arnold's been great, Stallone's been great, but you know, those guys aren't dead, and it's not like they'll never make movies again. Maybe Arnold might not make movies anymore, but you know, I mean, they certainly make movies, and for me, as long as I could, I've always said, like, if I could get half the success of my movies that Arnold has, or even Stallone has, because they made some pretty good movies in the past, and I'd be successful. But my intent or goal is never ever to take over for them.
Well, of course, you became known, and I think you're contracted to do wrestling fights until 2005, aren't you, over in the States?
Right.
You're very much known for that, particularly amongst the kids in this country,
sure,
who haven't been to see the Mummy Returns and stuff. And so we went out to a school, and we just got a bunch of kids at random, and we said, you know The Rock? Yeah, we know The Rock. Do you know his catchphrases? Yeah, yeah. OK, do them for us. And this is what we got this morning.
Oh, great.
This is really cool.
Good.
We will rock you. Can you smell what The Rock is cooking? No, you're Roland. Shut your mouth.
Why don't you drink a big glass of shut up juice? Why don't you drink a big glass of shut up juice?
Why don't you check into the SmackDown Hotel?
Why don't you check into the Smack Hotel? Can you smell what The Rock is cooking?
This is what The Rock does with his eyebrow. We will rock you. I can't do it. Can you smell what The Rock is cooking?
What do you think? It doesn't matter what you think.
You got mud on your face.
Who is this Rudy Poo? We love The Rock!
Aren't they great?
That is fantastic.
You had an interesting childhood. It seemed to go well until your teens. And now, hang on, is it your father that Simone?
No, it's your mother.
My mom.
I'm so sorry.
Your father was a wrestler, though, wasn't he?
Yes, and my grandfather as well.
And your
But your
grandfather
dad
as well.
drank away all the family money, and you had a rotten teenagehood. I mean, you really did, and you had to go and wash dishes to make ends meet and stuff, and you went off the rails big time.
Sure.
But I was interested to see that it wasn't actually wrestling that got you back on track. By the time you got a scholarship to university, you got your diploma in criminology.
Yeah,
Degree in
right.
criminology, yeah.
Criminology.
That's right.
You were back on track. But you had this bad experience and you were full of rage, obviously because of what had happened with your father. How did you get rid of the rage? How did you end up, back, flying right, as they say in the States?
Well, I wound up playing football.
Right.
Is what happened. So for me, and we all, as life is unpredictable as we know it. So for me, trying to channel that. And I did. I had a lot of aggression, and I got into a lot of trouble, and it was difficult for me at that time to focus. Not only to focus, but to understand, like, why, you know, why me? It was one of those things. But it was until I got older and I started playing football, and then even through the course of playing football and going on playing at the University of Miami and playing down there, it's such a high-profile program. I still wasn't as focused as I should have been, and still getting in trouble, almost flunking out of school.
Really?
And the truth of the matter is, I met my wife, and
You met her when you were on your way to an orgy. Is that true?
That's absolutely
You were
true.
on your way to an orgy, no holds barred, everything flowing.
Everything flowing, literally.
Absolutely. And you met your wife on the way, and that was it. That was the...
That was it. And by the way, just for the record, the orgy never happened.
No.
No, I know that.
No, because I met my wife. Yeah, that's just it.
That's what I mean.
Sure.
Yeah.
I met her that night, and
What's she called?
And Danny,
Danny.
and she completely blew me away,
Hey.
and that's what happened.
Well, I have to say, that's exactly how I met Judy.
On your way, or after the orgy.
You met me in the corridor at work. Maybe you were on your way to...
I'll tell you the truth. I met her in the office. She showed me where the toilets were. Okay.
Oh, there you
That's
go.
the truth.
That's mundanity for you.
That's real life.
great.
But listen,
Listen, it's great.
I knew that we'd like you. Having
it's an
seen your
absolute
films
pleasure.
and seen that
Good
one, I
luck
knew
with
we'd
the
like you.
movie.
It's great.
Thank you so
It's
much.
really
I
good
really
fun.
appreciate
You must be welcome back anytime.
Thank you. I'd love
And
to come back.
it opens on March the
26th.
We've been fed the numbers in March the 26th.
Yeah.
In this country. Good luck with it.
Thank you so much. I
Very good
appreciate
work.
it. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Okay, with most of our selections for the book club continuing to ride high in the bestseller list because we've torn a leaf out of Oprah Winfrey's show. We do a book club as well, like she
Oh,
did.
that's very good.
Yep. We come to book number 7. After the break, Mira Sayal and travel journalist Robert Elms tell us what they made of William Dalrymple's absorbing historical narrative, White Moguls, which for the first time tells the real story of how the 18th century British fell in love head over heels with India. And after that, we check out the test that is 94% accurate in predicting whether couples will stay together or split up.